The objective of this lesson is to multiply a whole number by a decimal in the tens using base 10 blocks. In a previous lesson, students learned how to multiply whole numbers by a decimal in the tens using hundreds grids. This lesson uses an array mat and base 10 blocks as another method to solve whole numbers multiplied by a decimal in the tens. In previous lessons, students have also learned how to solve whole number by whole number multiplication problems using arrays. Let's start with our first problem. Sydney is training for a marathon. She decided that for the next 4 days, she would run 2/10 of a mile farther than she usually runs. By the end of the 4 days, how much farther did she run than usual? Start by writing the multiplication problem. Sydney ran 4 days at an extra 2/10 each day. This would be written as 4 multiplied by 2/10, or 4 groups of 2/10. 4 is the number of groups or number of rows, and it will be written on the side of the array mat. 2/10 is the number in each group and will be written at the top of the array mat. Place 2/10 rods in the first row of the mat. This represents the 2/10 mile extra Sydney ran on the first day. There are 3 more days to represent. Place 2/10 in the second row, 2/10 in the third row, and 2/10 in the fourth row. There are a total of 8/10. Sydney ran an extra 8/10 of a mile. In our previous lesson, this same problem was completed using hundreds grids. Both methods produced a clear product of 8/10. Let's solve another problem using the base 10 blocks again. Noah's dad is building a doghouse for their newly adopted dog. He needs 2 boards that are 1 7/10 feet long. What is the total length of the 2 boards? The multiplication expression is 2 groups of 1 7/10. 2 is the number of groups and will be written along the side of the array mat. 1 7/10 is the number in each group and will be written along the top of the array mat. Leave room between the 1 whole and 7/10 to place the place value blocks. In the first row, place 1 whole or 1 flat along with the 7/10 or 7 rods. Now in the second row, place 1 flat and 7 rods. There are a total of 2 flats and 14 rods. Because there are more than 9/10, regroup 10 of the rods into 1 whole. Now there are 3 flats or 3 holes and 4 rods or 4/10. The length of the 2 boards total 3 4/10 feet. This same problem can be shown and solved by using the box line dot method as well. Instead of placing base 10 blocks out on the array mat, the blocks can be drawn. Start by writing 2 along the side of the array mat and 1 7/10 along the top. Draw 1 box or 1 hole and 7 lines or 7/10 in the first row. Draw another 1 box and 7 lines in the second row as well. There are a total of 2 holes and 14/10. Regroup 10 of the tenths into 1 box or 1 hole. There are a total of 3 holes and 4/10. The total length of the 2 boards is 3 4/10 feet. The objective of this lesson was to multiply a whole number by a decimal in the tens using base 10 blocks, and we met this objective by using base 10 blocks as well as the box line dot method to solve decimal multiplication problems.